Trey Lance was trending all day yesterday on Twitter, not because he did anything, because Justin Fields was so good in a loss yesterday, and a lot of Niner fans were kind of wringing their hands thinking, drafted the wrong quarterback. Justin Fields was there. What do you think, Ryan? Did the 49ers draft the wrong quarterback?
For me personally, my feelings are no. No, I like Trey Lance. I've seen enough from him. I know a lot of people may not have seen a lot from him based on 102 passing attempts. But from what I've seen, he seems to
102?
102 passing attempts. And you know, and people are making judgments based off 102 passing attempts. And I've seen really some amazing things from him, like his deep passes, his accuracy deep, his arm strength. You know, what we've seen from him personality-wise, how he's a leader, how he works hard, how he studies, just the kid he is, how he holds himself accountable. All these things, there's really nothing that makes me down on Trey Lance. So what I did was I kind of looked at the first 102 attempts. Since Trey Lance is kind of the subject, I looked at his first 102 attempts, and I compared it with the other guys in the draft class. I used full games for everybody because I didn't want to break it down individually. At 102 passes, it would take forever, and I have a life. But when looking at those numbers,
I'm proud to say. Me too. Yeah.
When looking at those numbers, I was surprised. I didn't expect to see the results, which was that Trey Lance is better at all of them in yards per attempt by a lot, by like 1.6 yards per attempt. He has more touchdowns than everybody but Trevor Lawrence. Him and Trevor Lawrence both have 5. He has less interceptions than all 5 of them, except Mac Jones and him both have 3. He has more yards than all of them, and he has a better rating than all of them if you're just looking at that roughly 100 passing attempts. So this isn't me saying that, Trey Lance is going to be Joe Montana. This is me just saying it's way too early to write any of these guys off. Specifically, Trey Lance, when he's only had 102 passing attempts and better numbers than all of them in those 102 attempts.
Right. Like, I could see Niner fans watching Justin Fields yesterday and saying, damn, man, this guy's really good. We should have taken him because, and maybe they should have. Like, I don't even know the answer. I think the answer to this question is we don't know if the Niners took the wrong quarterback. What we see with Justin Fields, and not just him, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, is they seem to improve. They seem to be improving. Mac Jones less. I think he pretty much hit his ceiling coming out of college. Yeah. But Fields, Wilson, Lawrence all seem to be doing better than they did last year. And my question, I mean, that's all you need to know. And so my question is, what would Trey Lance look like right now if he had stayed healthy? I'm not blaming the Niners, although I already have, but the fact is he got hurt. And that's why everyone's wondering if they took the wrong quarterback. If he'd been playing, I think he'd be improving along with the other guys. And what sucks is you look at someone like Fields, he's not done improving. I think what we're seeing from these young quarterbacks is it takes them maybe 3 years to reach their peak. Maybe sometimes longer. But I know Mahomes did it quicker. But Josh Allen, 3 years. Jalen Hurts, 3 years. This is year 3. Did anyone think he was going to be an MVP candidate coming into this season? No. He was a good quarterback who was like, not guaranteed to keep the job forever. And now he's an MVP candidate. So could Justin Fields be that good next year? Absolutely. Could Trey Lance be that good if he got 3 years of starting experience? I think absolutely. But what's discouraging about the Trey Lance thing is that this year feels like a total waste. You could sell me last year on being like, he developed on the bench, got a few starts. Okay. What did he do this year? I don't know. So when is he going to ever reach his peak? And can he on this team? At least Justin Fields gets a play in Chicago. And, what's key about that was when it was time to get Justin Fields, they didn't keep Mitch Trubisky on the team as the backup, just in case. Yeah. Oh, man, Mitch won with us. We went to the playoffs with Mitch. Maybe we should get him back on the field. No, he's gone.
Yeah.
So I just think the Bears did a better job of developing their quarterback than the Niners have so far.
I mean, same thing with the Patriots and Mac Jones, right? They got rid of Cam Newton, made Mac Jones their guy. So there's no questions with the team or in the media or anything. And it gives
same
Mac
with the
Jones
Jets. Yeah. The Jets, they got rid of Sam Darnold. The Jags, they got rid of who was the quarterback? Minshew?
Yes. Yeah, right.
You're gone. Yeah. Goodbye. No team keeps the quarterback who just got replaced. Why would you do that? I mean, it's so any person that doesn't even know football could be like, "Oh, that might be tricky in the locker room for the team." Yeah. Oh, Really? Dual allegiances doesn't sound great.
Yeah.
And it doesn't send a great message to your young quarterback that you have trust in him and confidence.
Yeah, and something else I found interesting in this is Mac Jones. He had the highest percentage and the lowest interceptions, even though his ratio was still much worse than Trey Lance. But Mac Jones to me seems to be, like you said, he came out of college already at the highest. He had the highest floor and the lowest ceiling, and I think that's what a lot of people wanted to draft Mac Jones for. Is he can come right here on the 49ers and he's already at his peak, and he's basically could take over. Even though to me he's essentially Jimmy Garoppolo. I never wanted Mac Jones, but what you see with Mac Jones is he's kind of tapered off. He's falling off. And they've seen enough. And what you
now the league's catching up to him, and he doesn't really have a counter because he's not an athlete.
Yeah, he's nothing special.
He's nothing special. He's a decent pocket quarterback with a decent arm.
Correct. Yeah, and he has the lowest athleticism out of all 5 of these quarterbacks.
Is none.
Yeah. So, and then what you see with Justin Fields is out of these numbers, he had the worst start. It took him 5 games to get 115 attempts, and his numbers are the worst on here. But now what you're seeing over, 25 games, he is actually trending. He's like the most popular quarterback out of all 5 of these amongst NFL fans, and people are calling for Justin Fields to take over. But, some things you need to consider is Trey Lance is the youngest out of all of these quarterbacks. He has the least experience, which some people use that as a knock against him. But to me, shows you that because he's the least experienced, he's going to benefit the most from when he does get that experience. So I'm definitely not out on Trey Lance. I think there's no reason for anyone to be out on Trey Lance. Now, the other thing you hear is, he's injury prone, which I don't really agree with. I mean, if you make a pass and you hit your finger on a helmet, your finger's going to break. I mean, it doesn't make you injury prone. If you get tackled by a linebacker and you roll your ankle's going to break. When I think of injury prone, I think of somebody that has like a nagging, consistent injury, or like a non-contact injury, something that's persistent. That's what I think of when I think of injury prone. I don't think of injury prone when you get, hit your finger on a helmet. If any of us were to hit our fingers on a helmet hard enough, it would break, so.
Yeah. What I think the takeaway here is you can't draw any conclusions. You'd be a fool to draw conclusions this early, to say that Justin Fields was the right quarterback for the Niners at 3 because he had the best game yesterday in a loss. No, I mean, let's see where these guys are next year, because maybe Zach Wilson is the one who's an MVP candidate next year, or Mac Jones, or Trey Lance, and not Justin Fields, because Justin Fields clearly is the best athlete of the quarterbacks in that draft. Yeah. No question. Yeah. But he's still developing as a passer. I mean, he's still completing less than 60% of his throws and throwing for 150 yards a game. So he's improving, but we still have to see. To answer the question, I don't think the Niners drafted the wrong quarterback. Let me actually put myself out on a limb here. I still think they took the right guy. And even though Justin Fields looks like a tremendous athlete and an improving quarterback, he has a lot to prove as a passer. And he runs into so many sacks. For every time that he busts out of the pocket for a long gain, there's other times where he just runs in circles and gets sacked. And he's a playmaker. He's a definite playmaker. But is he going to become a legit quarterback? Maybe. He absolutely might. But I feel like Trey Lance already has that mentality. He's not just trying to run around. He's really trying to keep his eyes downfield and throw. Justin Fields spins out of the back of the pocket. Trey Lance steps up. So is Justin Fields a better zone read runner than Trey Lance? Absolutely. No question about it. Is he a better scrambler than Lance? Yes. Does that mean he's going to be a better quarterback 2-3 years down the line? I don't necessarily know that. Or I would bet on – I'd like to say I'd bet on Lance, but this injury really put a whole monkey wrench in the whole process. And it's too bad. Yeah, you could blame the Niners, but it happened. It's football. And it set him back. So I don't know. The best thing about Justin Fields is that he hasn't gotten hurt, because it's not like they really did anything. They gave him Dante Pettis, no offense to Dante, and Darnell, I think, and whoever Armstrong is, according to Colin Cowherd. Not a lot.
Yeah, Armstrong. Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, no, I think all of it is yet to be determined for all of these quarterbacks. It's still early, but especially on Trey Lance. He's only had 102 passing attempts. Most of these guys have played 25, 27, or 26 games already. So. Let's look at Trey Lance after 25 games and compare how he's doing with Justin Fields right now. And as a younger quarterback, as the most inexperienced quarterback, he's going to benefit the most from actually playing. So hopefully he gets his chance.
If you're patient with a quarterback who's young but an athlete, if you're patient and you develop a quarterback well, put him in good players around him, you can be rewarded. Look at the Bills. Look at the Eagles. If you're too scared to take that leap and be patient and give a guy a chance to become great, then you're going to be stuck with mediocrity at quarterback forever because you were scared of the process. At a certain point, you got to embrace the process. And I feel like with the Niners, they're like, oh, man, Trey had a rough training camp, preseason throwing the ball. Let's just run him between the tackles until we feel a little bit more comfortable and confident about what he's doing in practice throwing the ball. Man, that's so not the way to develop a quarterback. It's really not. So it's too bad. I feel like if Trey Lance had been, in Chicago or Philly, he'd be so more advanced than where he is now.
I watched the initial press conference on Saturday from John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan when Jed York announced them as coach and GM for the 49ers. And one thing Kyle Shanahan promised to do was learn from his mistakes. So I'm hoping that that's the key, that happens next year with Trey Lance, and that he doesn't run. Trey, I mean, if you wanted to run, I think you posted on Twitter, if you wanted a running quarterback, you should have got Justin Fields. Trey Lance is not that guy. He's athletic. He can scramble, and that's the best thing about his athleticism. But he's got to use him like a quarterback and not make him don't try to turn him into Justin Fields, because if that's what you were looking for, you got the wrong guy.
Because Justin Fields looks like he runs a 4.4. Trey Lance doesn't run a 4.4. He looks like he runs a 4.6, maybe a 4.59. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, Josh Allen runs a 4.7. So he's fast enough to be a running threat. But Justin Fields was the guy in the spread offense at Ohio State running the zone read for multiple years. Trey Lance was under center, running play action, scrambling in the occasional quarterback draw. I thought that's why the Niners wanted him, because he was under center. And all of a sudden you get him in the game and he's in the shotgun running zone reads and counter bash and quarterback power. It's like, whoa, man, if that's what you wanted to do, then Justin Fields had experience doing that. One of the reasons Colin Kaepernick was so good at running the zone read is he did it for 5 years in college. He did it a long time. And it does take development. You're reading something. You're not just running. And as you saw with Trey Lance, he didn't read that play particularly well. When they first tried to install it his rookie year, he kept fumbling the ball. That was in training camp. And then this year, he consistently made the wrong read, which is comes with experience. So that's why I didn't understand. Okay, so you're not going to let him pass. You're going to make him do this. Well, he's not good at this either. Yeah. Maybe you should develop him passing because that's important. That's what you need.
You said the key word to me, which is threat. Like Trey Lance could be a running threat, but not a runner. Like you don't have to run him constantly to make him a threat. The occasional run, right?
And this team was the number one running offense in the league without a quarterback who could contribute to it. So why do you all of a sudden need to lean on your quarterback who's averaging 4 yards a carry?
Yes. Exactly.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the play action and the rollout should be where Trey Lance lives, in my opinion, and he would do amazing. Play action, leg, that's where he needs to be. That's his bread and butter, right?
Glass half full guy says, in my honest opinion, no matter what happens this season, I'm moving off Jimmy and going with Lance because the Niners need to see what they have. That's just me. Yeah, but if they don't win the Super Bowl this year and Kyle gets to come back as a non-Super Bowl winning head coach in year 7, which he probably will, there's just even more pressure on him to win, which even puts Lance in an even tougher spot. That's the way it is. It's too bad. Yeah. Hold on, one more. Trey Niner says we should have traded for Geno. Who saw that coming? I think quarterbacks just need to be in the right system with the right coach. I think we're kind of seeing that teams, there's so much turnover, there's so much demand to be good right away that, if you get a coach like Pete Carroll who's not under the gun and he actually has time to develop a quarterback, you can do it. You can still do it, and you don't have to constantly, draft a guy, play him at 22 and be like, be great right now. Oh, you're not great? Oh, you suck.
Yeah.
Route.
The Geno Smith reminds me a lot of Trey Lance. Geno Smith would have been an amazing backup for Trey Lance had they traded Jimmy in 2021 and got Geno Smith. They would be in a great spot right now.